Help me to reach 2,000 subscribers. The first time Daniel's boss touched my arm, I told myself it was harmless. It was at a company gala, lights dimmed to gold and amber, champagne glasses clinking, laughter filling every expensive corner. I had just told a joke, something about Daniel's endless pep talks since joining the Confidence Academy under his boss, Victor Hale, and Victor's hand found my arm in laughter. His thumb pressed against my skin for just a second too long. I laughed it off, pretending not to notice the spark that followed. But I noticed. God, I noticed everything about him. Victor was what Daniel wanted to become: tall, commanding, magnetic. His words carried weight, his smile disarmed even the most cynical rooms. I'd watched Daniel come home night after night talking about Victor like a disciple worshipping a prophet. "He's teaching me how to be fearless," he'd said. "How to take what I want." I didn't realize how literal that lesson would become. For months, Victor's name lived in our house like a third presence, the alpha mentor shaping my husband's confidence and ambition. Daniel had started dressing better, talking louder, walking with a swagger that didn't quite belong to him. He began to correct me mid-sentence. Sometimes he'd quote Victor as if every word the man said was gospel. And then came the dinner invitation. Victor's penthouse pulsed with understated luxury. Glass walls, leather furniture, a skyline view that made me dizzy. He greeted us both with that effortless charm, his dark eyes assessing, his voice smooth and deliberate. "Daniel," he said, clapping my husband on the shoulder, "you're becoming the man I knew you could be." To me, he offered a glass of wine and a glance that lingered. "And you must be the reason he's pushing himself so hard." I smiled, uncomfortable. Daniel didn't notice. He was too busy soaking in Victor's approval like sunlight. Weeks passed. Daniel's schedule grew relentless: late-night sessions, leadership workshops, team-building weekends. He'd come home smelling faintly of whiskey and cologne that wasn't his. I tried to believe his words, but suspicion crept through me like slow poison. Then one evening, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "You left your scarf at Victor's place." A photo followed, my silk scarf, the one I'd worn to that dinner months ago, draped over a marble countertop. My stomach dropped. I hadn't been there since. I told myself it was a mistake. Maybe he'd found it somewhere. Maybe Daniel had taken it accidentally. But when I showed the picture to Daniel, his reaction wasn't confusion. It was fear, fleeting, but unmistakable. "Probably an assistant being weird," he muttered, snatching my phone. "Don't overthink it." I tried to believe him. I wanted to. But the next time I saw Victor, everything changed. It was during a company retreat at a mountain resort. Wives were invited, and I went, partly out of curiosity, partly out of suspicion I couldn't quite admit to myself. Victor was magnetic even off the stage. At dinner, he leaned close while Daniel laughed with other executives. "He worships me, you know," Victor said quietly. "Everything I tell him, he tries to live by." His tone was half amusement, half arrogance. "And what do you tell him?" I asked. He smiled. "To stop apologizing for what he wants." His eyes flicked to my lips. We could all learn that lesson. The air thickened between us. I stepped away, trembling. That night, I lay beside Daniel in bed, wide awake, hearing Victor's voice echo in my mind. "Stop apologizing for what you want." The affair began a week later. I didn't plan it. I didn't even understand why I let it happen. One moment, Victor was at my doorstep, saying Daniel had sent him to drop off some files he'd forgotten. The next, we were inside, and the air between us crackled with everything unsaid. He kissed me first, slow, deliberate, confident. I remember my mind screaming no, but my body betrayed me. Months of loneliness, of emotional distance, of watching my husband disappear into another man's shadow. All of it combusted in that one reckless act. When it was over, I couldn't even cry. I just sat there, staring at the floor, while Victor buttoned his shirt with calm precision. "He'll never know," he said. "And you'll stop feeling so invisible." I hated him for being right. But secrets rot from the inside out. Daniel changed. He was proud, assertive, ambitious, and cold. The warmth that once defined him had hardened into something else. He started treating me like a trophy, a reflection of his growing power. And Victor kept texting. Small messages. Late at night. Sometimes a photo of where we'd been together. Sometimes nothing but my name. I tried to end it. He laughed. You can't unlearn confidence, he said. You can't go back to pretending. I didn't reply. I deleted his number. But he didn't stop. The truth broke on a quiet Sunday morning. Daniel came home early from a weekend seminar, face pale, eyes burning. He dropped his phone on the table, the screen still lit with a message from Victor. You taught her better than I expected. His voice cracked when he spoke. How long? I froze. Time fractured around me. I tried to explain, to reach for him, but the words tangled in guilt. Daniel, He stepped back. You were supposed to believe in me. Not him. There was no shouting, no throwing things. Just silence, a silence so heavy it hollowed the room. He packed a bag that night. Didn't say goodbye. Just left. 2 months later, I saw Victor again. He came to my house uninvited, smirking as if nothing had changed. You made him stronger, he said. Pain builds character. Something inside me snapped. I slapped him, hard, and for the first time, he didn't smile. He just stared at me, hand pressed to his cheek, and whispered, Now you understand. Then he walked out. That was the last time I saw him. Daniel never came back. He resigned from the company. Moved across the country, started over. I heard he's doing well, confident, successful, dating someone new. I still see Victor's face sometimes in dreams, a flash of charisma and cruelty, teaching lessons no one should ever learn. As for me, I'm left with silence and shame. Victor once said confidence meant taking what you wanted. I finally understand the truth. Sometimes taking what you want destroys everything worth having.